Let's talk about one of the most misunderstood but most important parts of real estate, and that's earnest money. What is it? Why do you pay it? And what happens if something goes sideways? Don't worry, I've got your answers, served up with some Southern charm and a little bit of straight talk. Hey y'all, I'm Holly Ann Simpson, your realtor, proudly serving everyone from the lakes to the low country. I help buyers and sellers navigate the South Carolina real estate world with clarity, confidence, and a little humor along the way. Today we're breaking down earnest money, how it works, why it matters, and what both buyers and sellers need to understand to keep the transaction moving smoothly. So, what is earnest money? Let's get to the real estate basics. Earnest money is basically a buyer's way of saying, hey, I'm serious. It's a good faith deposit submitted along with an offer to purchase a home. Think of it like putting a little bit of skin in the game. It shows the seller you're not just window shopping. This money is typically held in escrow by a third party. Most often, it's the buyer's attorney in the state of South Carolina, and it's held until the deal closes or is terminated. It's not a bonus or a fee. It's part of the buyer's investment into the home. There is no set amount. That's why the contract leaves a blank space in Section 5 to be filled out by the buyer based on what they feel comfortable offering and what the seller finds acceptable in accepting. Think of it like the first move in a game of chess. Strategic and negotiable. So in South Carolina, earnest money is outlined in Section 5 of a standard residential purchase contract, which we refer to that in the real estate world as Form 310. This section is going to cover how much, when it's due, and who's holding it. So if you're buying, let's say, a $400,000 home, you might offer $2,000 of earnest money due within 48 hours to be held by the buyer's attorney. The key is that everyone now is sticking to a plan. Remember that this is negotiable and it's not just a box that we're checking off. Again, you're just offering what the buyer feels comfortable with offering and the seller feels comfortable with accepting. So once the offer is accepted, the earnest money usually ends up deposited in escrow within 48 hours of the contract. Again, it all depends on what you decided to agree to in the terms, okay? You can pay by check made out to the escrow holder. You can wire funds, but just a quick PSA. If you're wiring money, please triple check those instructions and then check them again, because wire fraud is real and no one wants their earnest money floating off somewhere in cyberspace. So how it's used. It's a buyer credit. So earnest money, it isn't lost to a void. If everything goes as planned, it's applied to your closing cost or your down payment. It's like setting money aside at the beginning that comes back to help you seal the deal at the end. It's not a fee, it's a future credit. So buyers, breathe a little bit easier. Can you get it back? Well, that's the $1 million, or at least a few $1,000 question. What happens if the deal falls apart? If the buyer terminates within their due diligence period, the money usually comes back to them. No harm, no foul. But if they back out outside of a protected contingency, or just change their mind on a Tuesday after watching too many HGTV shows, the seller may be entitled to keep it. Sellers, here's the catch. Even if you think you're owed that money, you can't touch it without both parties signing a disbursement agreement. Think of it as joint custody of a very quiet, very small pile of cash. The disbursement process, releasing the earnest money. To release the earnest money, both the buyer and the seller need to sign the disbursement agreement. Until that form is signed, the money stays right where it is, sitting patiently in escrow, like it's waiting for a permission slip to go home. You can't ask your agent, hey, give me the money. It doesn't work that way. This was part of your legal contract, and as stated in the contract, in order to get it back just in case a deal falls through, there's a formality of paperwork. All right, sellers, a little bit of a reality check, all right? Let me say this gently. Just because the earnest money is in play doesn't mean it's time to go shopping for a new hot tub. That money, it's not yours until the deal is done and everyone agrees. And buyers, don't freak out. It's not gone. It's just holding a seat at the table until you get the keys to your new home. Why it matters. It's all about accountability and trust. Earnest money is all about trust. It is the buyer saying, I'm serious, and the buyer saying, okay, I'll take my house off the market for you. It builds mutual accountability. It gives both parties a reason to play fair. It's like a handshake before the official signing of all of the final paperwork. Knowledge is only power when you put it to use. And that's where I come in. Whether you're buying your dream home or preparing to list your current one, understanding how earnest money works helps protect your goals and your wallet. If you're getting ready to buy or sell in South Carolina, I'd love to walk you through the process. From the lakes to the low country, I've got your back. So if you have any questions in the meantime, call or text me, or schedule a one-on-one conversation on my calendar. Subscribe for more tips, and let's make your real estate goals happen together. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, y'all.